week, Monday afternoon. And hopefully everyone who has a mother had a wonderful Mother's Day. Who is a mother had a wonderful Mother's Day. Hopefully all the mothers were celebrated that are good mothers. Mothers actually doing their job, raising their children, making sure they're getting taught right. Those are the mothers we celebrate. But nevertheless, it's another week. So today, kind of a local topic, but it's applicable to everyday living. We're going to talk about debt today. Obviously, everybody knows what debt is. Basically, you owe somebody some money. It doesn't have to just be money, but in most cases, when we talk debt, we're talking financial debt. Okay, that means you owe somebody some money. Okay, and it's not something that we should ever want to be in, if all possible, no matter how big or small the debt is. Okay, as Christians and or saints, the Bible tells us to be the lender and not the borrower. Why does it tell us to be the lender and not the borrower? It tells us to be that way because if you owe something to somebody, that means they basically have sway over you. I'm trying to think of the right word to use. But when you're in debt to somebody, when you're borrowing from somebody, they have power over you. Okay. And as Christians and saints, we have to be leaders, and we should not be in a state where we're borrowing, but in a state where we're able to bless people. Okay. Again, that's not everybody, of course. Again, I apologize for the thing. The roads kind of got this thing bouncing around all over the place. But we should be lenders and not borrowers, and not just for saints and or Christians, but everybody. We should be in a position where we can help people and not owe people. So as we come up on another debt ceiling, one of many debt ceilings that have come and go because our country doesn't believe in being debt free. Our country doesn't believe in paying bills. And let me rephrase that. It doesn't believe in paying bills to other people in other countries that are giving us money, specifically China, who basically owns our country. When you hold probably the largest portion of debt, that means you have a lot of power. And hence, China has a lot of power in this country because they hold a lot of our debt. And we put ourselves in a position. We did it. We're at fault. Not China. We're at fault. We're at fault for putting ourselves in a position to owe money to any country, no matter if they're allies or not. Okay? Because when somebody owns debt, they have power. They have a say-so in what goes on. When you owe money to a bank, they charge you an outrageously high interest rate because they know they can. Because you owe them money. And they know that most people that have debt are only paying on the debt. They're not paying above and beyond the minimum. So they're going to own them for years. When you're in debt, you're being owned by somebody else. Okay? Let's just call it what it is. Okay? When you have credit card debt or whatnot, you're owned by those credit card companies. They own you. And don't miss a payment. That's the worst thing you can do. Because they will punish you. Because they can. Because you owe them money. The problem with our country is that we owe so much money to other people and that we can't pay them. that we continuously are borrowing more and more and more and more money, and we're just getting ourselves more and more and more and more trouble, it's going to crash our economy. Because there's no way we can pay it. We can raise taxes till we're blue in the face. It's not going to do anything if we continuously borrow money. And the problem we have in this country is the government tells us one thing, but they do another. They're hypocrites. The government is a big, huge hypocrite, because they expect us as normal people to pay our bills and to pay our debts. But yet the country doesn't pay its debts. So you're a hypocrite. The government is a hypocrite. The government is an absolute hypocrite, because they expect us to pay our debts, but they don't pay their debts. Don't let us owe money to the government. The IRS will take it right out of our check without asking and take it. But yet they can't pay their debts. Now he wants to get over. So the government, doesn't care that it can't pay its debts and its debtors, but it cares if we don't pay them. They'll take that money straight up. IRS will come to your door. They'll do whatever they got to do to get their money. But they won't do the same thing. They're hypocrites. I did a vlog on that if you didn't see it. They're hypocrites. The government is just a big, huge hypocrite, because they don't do what they tell us to do. Hence the reason why nobody trusts or even has confidence in government, with the exception of people that are getting money from the government. That means they're beholden to the government, so those people will do whatever the government tells them to do. Because not only are they potentially in financial debt, but they're in debt to them because the government's giving them money. So if your livelihood is dependent on the government giving you money, you're in debt to the government. Again, I said debt is more than just money. If you are relying on the government to live, then you're in debt to the government, and the government can do whatever they want to you. The worst things churches ever did was fall for the trap of the 501c3, because that now means the government owns you. So if you try to talk something that the government doesn't agree with, they'll take your tax-free status away from you. And there are just way too many churches that rely on that tax-free status. Thank God our church doesn't have one. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a government trap. It's control. When you are in debt, somebody else controls you. You are in control. Credit card companies control you. The person you borrow money from controls you. The government controls you. That private corporation controls you. They control you. China controls the United States of America because they hold the majority of our debt. They control us, and it shows. Because we don't have leadership enough to tell China to leave us alone and actually pay our debt off. China's not going to forgive our debt like we did European debt after World War II. We forgave all that debt that all them European countries owed us. For all that we did during World War II for those countries, we forgave their debt. Right or wrong, we did it. Well, China ain't going to do that to us. You can guarantee they're not going to do that to us. But yet we can't pay our debt. One, because we can't afford to pay our debt because we continuously borrow. We have no discipline. This country has no financial discipline, no fiscal discipline to pay debt off. Ain't no Dave Ramsey going to help this government. As much as he helps tons and thousands of people getting out of debt, he can't help this government. We're too far gone. But we're not even trying to pay the debt off. We can't make the hard decisions. Nobody makes the hard decision because nobody wants to suffer. But yet us, the common people, suffer every day because of debt. freedom this country would have being debt free. Oh my goodness gracious. It's almost unthinkable. It would literally take a miracle from the Lord for this country to be debt free. One, because our money is almost worthless, because it's not backed by anything but consumer confidence, which is ridiculous. It's not backed by gold anymore, which is the dumbest thing we ever did. So now that our money is backed by consumer confidence, so it's fickle. Hence the reason we're so indebted to the stock market. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Absolutely dumb. Debt is a dangerous thing. Being in debt is dangerous. I've been debt-free once, and unfortunately we didn't learn our lesson. We got ourselves in a little bit of debt, not like the first time, and we're about to get ourselves out of debt again. Why? Because it's important to be debt-free. Whether it be money, whether it be you owe people money, or they give you money, or whatever, being debt-free is extremely important. Because you want to be the lender and not the borrower. The borrower has no power. The borrower has no say-so. The lender has all the power and all the say-so. So, when the Bible tells us to be the lender and not the power, the borrower, a lender and not the borrower, that means we're in the driver's seat. Saints and Christians shouldn't be borrowers, we should be lenders. We should be blessing people, not borrowing from people. How can you help people when you're borrowing money from other people? You can't. How can you preach the erroneous prosperity gospel, which so many people are preaching, and you're in debt and borrowing money? You can't. You're a hypocrite. Being debt-free is power. It's power. Do all that you can do to become debt-free. Sacrifice whatever you have to sacrifice to be debt-free financially. Because there's freedom and power in being debt-free. And there's freedom and power in being the lender and not the borrower. The Bible doesn't say it just by happen chance. It's there for a reason. But yet, the majority of the people in the United States are borrowers and not lenders. And we're all guilty of it. We have all had debt. Some of us still have debt. We're all guilty of it. I've been debt-free. I know what freedom feels like. And unfortunately, we got complacent and accumulated a little debt again. But we caught it before it got real big, like the first time. And now we're rectifying it. And we're focused again because we know what it feels like to be debt-free. There's freedom in it. When you don't owe anybody anything, that's freedom. And I'm talking about debt. Now this question may come up, or people may be thinking this. Well, if you own a mortgage, that technically means you're in debt. True. When I say we were debt-free, meaning we didn't owe anybody money from credit card bills and from credit card bills. That's what I'm talking about. Technically, you're right. A mortgage is a debt because you're beholden to that bank or that lending company that you went through to get the house. Very true. So technically, you'll always be in debt until you pay off the house. Or if you own a car and you're paying a car, you're in debt. That's part of debt. Again, when we were debt-free, we were credit card free and car payment free. But we weren't truly debt-free because we still owe a mortgage. Debt-free is power. Debt is not power bill, water bill. That's going to be there as long as you own a home, until the day you die. Okay, I'm talking about credit card debt, loan debt, car payment, mortgage. That's debt. Debt is you owe somebody something, whether it be financial or whatever. Okay, but right now we're focusing on financial debt or fiscal debt, whatever word you want to use. Okay, be the lender, not the borrower. Pay off them credit cards that are charging you astronomical interest. Pay off that car. Refinance if you have to make it easier. Same with your home. Interest rates are high. Get you a better interest rate. Yes, you may pay a little bit longer, but it'll be easier not only to pay on the mortgage, but pay a little bit over the mortgage, which is what we're doing. We're serious about being debt-free. And all it takes is being fiscally responsible with your money. You can't do all the fun stuff that you want to do. You can't take all the trips you want to do. You can't buy all the snack foods you want to. You can't buy all the clothes that you want to. You got to be serious about wanting to be debt-free, because the government doesn't want you to be debt-free. It wants you to be in debt. The credit card companies want you to be in debt. Heck, even universities and colleges want you to be in debt. Everybody wants you to be in debt. But God wants you to be debt-free. And common sense says that you want to be debt-free. Okay? It's really important. Being indebted to somebody is not a good thing. Owing people money is not a good thing. But because you borrow money, that means you got to pay it back. Because guess what? They're not going to forgive your loan. They want their money. You should want your money. You should want more of your money than, you should want more of your money in your pocket than you giving more money to somebody else's pocket. Again, being the lender and not the borrower. It's very important to live a debt-free life as much as possible. I am not against a credit card. Everybody should have at least one credit card with a minimum with the minimum limit, because you may need that card one day. But if you do use a credit card, pay it off immediately. Pay it off immediately. But again, that's not what the credit card companies want. And in fact, the people that are in charge of your credit score don't want that. Because when you don't own a credit card and you don't have any debt, your credit score is lower. Go figure. That should tell you everything you need to know, that they want you in debt. They even sometimes punish you for paying your debt too quickly. How crazy is that? But who cares? You want to be debt-free. Stop paying the minimum. That's not getting you anywhere. Essentially, when you're in debt, you're a slave to whoever you owe money to. Let's just go right there. You're a slave to who you owe money to. Again, we're talking mainly financial debt right now. You're a slave to them. They own you. China owns us. We're a slave to China because we owe them billions of dollars. And we were stupid enough to get ourselves into this situation in the first place after President Nixon took us off the gold standard. Stupidest move ever made. People are fickle. Why would you want your currency tied to the consumer? It's ridiculous. It's stupid. That's not stable. And I'm by no means a financial expert. Again, everything I say on my vlog and my podcast are my opinion, my experience. You either like it or you don't. That's fine. But who wants to be a slave? Nobody. Not when it comes to money. Not when it comes to owing people something. You want to be free. And being free is not owing people money. You want to do all you can to get out of debt. To include car and mortgage. Because technically a car payment and a mortgage payment is debt. We don't look at it that way, but it is. It's debt. So let's get our act together, people. Let's not let's not be slaves to the government because they give you a Social Security check, disability check, food stamps, and all that other stuff. Don't rely on the government for nothing. There's nothing wrong with getting checks, disability checks, Social Security checks. You worked all your life to get a Social Security check. You got hurt on your job. You should get a disability check. But don't rely on that because that makes you a slave to the government. Don't stay on food stamps or government assistance. Get yourself out of it. Churches, get yourself off that tax-free status. In the end, you're a slave to the government. You can't preach what you want to preach and you can't say what you want because the government can tell you to stop or you'll lose your status. And the IRS will come after you. You are a slave to the IRS, churches that have 501c3s. You are a slave to the IRS. Get yourself out the trap and don't fall for the trap. Run your churches like a business, fiscally responsible, a good business, and be fiscally responsible with your money. If your church tithes, you use those tithes to what they're used for the ministry. Not for your own pockets unless the church decides they want to pay you a salary. That's different. That money that your parishioners give to you if you believe in paying tithes, which I do, goes towards the ministry, keeps the lights on, fixes issues with the church, keeps the air on, able to buy things for the church like chairs and stuff like that. That's what it's for. If the parishioners decide they want to pay the pastor and have paid employees, that's what it's for. Not to line your own pockets, because you're a thief. Unless the members decide they want to pay the leader and maybe more. Okay? Don't be a 501c3 church. Stop being a slave to the government. Get off the tax-free status. In all honesty, I'm against it because even though on its surface, yes, every religious organization probably deserves to be tax-free, but the government is using you. They're using you as a tool because now you've allowed them to come into your ministry and dictate to you what you can or cannot say because they own you. Because if it weren't for the government, you wouldn't have tax-free status. They own you. Stop being in debt. Be the lender and not the borrower. Stop paying the minimum on your debt. Pay a little above it so you can get it over with. Don't get a bunch of credit cards. One credit card at the minimum in case of emergencies. I'm all for having one credit card in case of emergencies. Keep that money in your pocket, because the Lord knows we need it. Because the economy is not getting any better and prices of everything is going up. Keep that money in your pocket. I could go on and on about this, but I'm going to leave it right there. Be debt free and be the lender and not the borrower. Okay? There's a reason it's in the Bible, because it's important. And there's a reason why you want to be debt free, because that's freedom. Freedom is more than living off the grid and doing all this other stuff. Freedom is not owing people money. That's freedom. So I hope you like what I've talked about. Maybe you got something out of it. If you got something to add, leave a remark. Leave a remark in the comments section. Again, be respectful. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you like what you hear. Tell your friends about it. I appreciate the members that have joined. I appreciate everybody that's come by and visit and left comments. I appreciate it. And as always, visit my son's website, philmartin.org. That's P-H-I-L-L Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N.org. I guarantee you're going to enjoy his website. He's got a lot of great, wonderful things that he puts on there. Okay? Of course, he's my editor and producer of our podcasts, and we'll get back to those hopefully here shortly. But again, I just want to thank everybody for coming on here and taking the time out to watch. I really, truly appreciate it. And until tomorrow, hopefully we'll have something else to talk about. So until then, God bless you.